Hi, I'm Craig Price. I'm the teacher of the Language Tools course for Rockbridge Seminary, and I have posted my bio here in the Prof's News. I think most of you have probably read that, and it gives you a lot of the details about my life and where I've been and so forth. But I wanted to do a little video just to say hello and kind of put a voice to the postings. And you'll notice here in the course, well, let me just talk about Greek for a minute. I learned Greek in seminary, and I took 3 years of Greek at Southwestern Seminary, and I really love the language. It has always been challenging for me. It's something that I use every time I go to the Word of God. Even when I am listening to my pastor preach, I go to First Baptist New Orleans. I have my Greek text through my Logos application. I have Accordance as well, and I can call up my Greek text along with an English text and follow the pastor, and I'm looking at Greek all the time. So I would encourage you to do that, and you'll be surprised how much you'll pick up just by trying to stay in it and just by using it. Now, we're not going to learn paradigms. We're not going to use flashcards. You're not going to memorize vocabulary. But we are going to teach some tools on how to use software. And if you don't have software, we're going to actually teach you the longhand version, how to do this from a Strong's Concordance. You can do a word study. But you know, with all the software that's out there now, and even free software, powerful software out on the internet, if you don't have any software, you can do a lot of word studies and work in the language pretty readily. So we'll talk some more about that. But I do want to encourage you to consider purchasing some good Bible software. You will not regret it. Now, you're going to have to learn how to use it. Any of these software programs that are out there require a learning curve and require some time. So, of the big three, if you want to really get into languages, you have, of course, Logos, you have Accordance, and then BibleWorks. Now, there are a couple of others out there, but I'm familiar with these three. I have all three. I use all three. But my primary go-to is Logos. I'm fairly comfortable in Accordance as well, but all the students are using Logos. So I've switched over and have really found Logos to be, it'll do everything that Accordance will do in languages. But what I really like about Logos is they're building a library. So eventually you can get most of your library right on your computer, and as busy pastors and busy ministers, you can take your theological library with you, and I really like that. I use mine all the time. My computer goes with me everywhere I go. So it's a tremendous time saver, and you can go deeper into the Word. Now, before I end this little video, I do want to point out a couple of things. If you look over here on the menu, you can open or collapse these little sections. I'm sure you have found that already. But I would highly recommend, mine's going to have a few things yours won't, but I would highly recommend that you go in there and open up every one of these areas. I mentioned this in a post, but find out where everything is. And you will do well to download and read the study guide that's provided for you here in the menu. So go down through here and click everything and look at where it is, because you need to get familiar with where stuff is, and it has a lot of tips for me that they like for us to incorporate. But you can go into the lessons. We're in Unit 1. I'm sure you've found that already because you've posted your intro and your journey. And do that for each section as we go into a new week. I would also highly, highly, highly recommend that you start on next week's lesson. This is kind of a down week. It's an easy week. We're just introducing each other. But when you start memorizing the alphabet, you're going to start wading out into deeper water, and that's going to take you a few days to do. So be patient with yourself. This does require some time. And if you're like me, if you've come back to school, you've been out for a while, you got to kind of knock some cobwebs out of the way mentally, but you'll get it. Just work with it, and there's nothing that's overly. There's not going to be a test or anything, so you're not going to have to really reproduce this on a timed test. But you do want to get familiar with Greek letters, and here's why. If you want the better commentaries, you're going to need to be able to read some Greek and not be intimidated by it. Okay? Most of our what we call non-language here at New Orleans, they don't take the biblical languages. And when they see a Greek word, they freeze up. So even in my English exegesis courses, I expose them to the interlinears and to the Greek, because if you can just get past seeing funny looking words and actually learn how to pronounce those words, then you can use the better commentaries. That's what you want to do. It's because the commentaries that are dealing with the language is where you want to go. There's a section on commentaries. We're going to cover those, how to use a commentary. And you don't go to a commentary first. You go to the commentaries last. My dear brothers, you go to the text first. That is my presupposition. I drill that in my students. I drill it in my congregations. You start with the text. And then, as you come across things you don't understand, then you go to the commentaries. Okay, more about that later. So get used to your menu. Start looking ahead, and as I have time, I'm going to make some more of these little screencasts, and I'm thinking about putting up a screen capture to actually show you the phrasings and how to do those and this kind of thing, so you can check your work when you get it back after I've graded it. So anyway, welcome to the class, and glad you're here. And as you have questions, you can go to the Prof News and ask a question if you want everybody to see it. Maybe it's a question others would like to ask, but they're not for some reason. Go to the Prof News right here. If it's something that you want to ask me personally, then you can go to this Ask Your Prof, and then I'll answer that privately, okay? And I check those. I try to check them every day so that I get to your emails or your postings and your comments within 24 hours. That's the industry standard, so we try to meet that. And occasionally things will come up. Everybody gets busy and ministry's busy, but I'm peeking in on the class, and we'll be looking at these Prof News and Ask Your Prof almost every day. So have a great rest of your day, and we will see you again in the Prof's News. God bless you.